If you love beans, come all the way to the front. Today we are making the Loma people's specialty beans Torborgee. Everything is going to be listed in the description below, and let's get to cooking. The beans that I'm using today is red cherry beans. I got mine from the African market, and it is very important to prep your beans to avoid rocks and sand in your meal. You're going to sift through it a couple times and remove any deformed beans and let that soak overnight to reduce your cooking time. This is very important. And when you soak your beans, you're going to see all the deformed beans rise to the top. You're going to toss that out and then prep it to the side. For my protein of choice, I use hard chicken, cow skin, cow foot, turkey, chicken feet, dry fish, and dried chicken. In a pot, I added my beans along with all of my proteins that I listed. You're going to leave that to boil until it is fork tender. I then blended an onion pepper mix to bring flavor to the beans, seasoned with salt, black pepper, and you're going to let the beans Torborgee do its job. Now this dish, especially with the beans that I use, it does require a really long cooking time only because of the beans. The beans take a long time to boil, so you just need patience. Large pot became crowded, and then I transferred everything into my Big Mama pot and continued cooking. Now, periodically, I am checking the beans to see that if it's soft or fork tender. When it's not, I just throw it back into the pot and continue cooking. I didn't soak the beans the night before, so that really extended my cooking time. This took about 4 hours for the beans to cook in total. So if you decide to make this dish, be smart. Don't be like me. Soak it the night before so you can really cut that cooking time in half. So when the beans was finally done 100 years later, I took all of the beans out, and what I did was I beat it, right? But to make life simple, just blend it. At this point, it's really just all about individual preferences. I'll blend 50% of the beans and keep the other 50%. That's just my preference. Some don't, some keep it whole, some blend 60%. But whatever it is that you like, you do it. And if you don't like it that way, don't do it that way. And I'm gonna start prepping my baking soda. That's ultimately what makes Torborgee. My mom shipped me some country soda, so I just mashed it like this. And you're going to add water into it, mix it, make sure it's evenly dissolved, and once that's done, that's what you're ultimately going to add into the Torborgee, the beans. If you can find country soda, Kui soda, or American soda will work. I did use both of them, a little bit of the country soda and a little bit of the American soda. It's also worth mentioning, before I added my baking soda, I turned the stove off, but I wasn't paying attention. I left it off for longer periods of time. So when I added the baking soda, it didn't create that little explosion like you normally do, but it did end up doing that later. After adding my baking soda, I went in with my Torborgee oil. Do not use regular palm oil, find Torborgee oil. And then I'm going to add my oil into the pot. Once I mix that up really well, I turned the stove back on and let it cook on really low for a few minutes, and that was it. I know when it comes to this portion of Torborgee, different people have different methods, but this is what I did. There's a million ways to turbolize it, as some people would say, but that's what I did. It was incredibly delicious. I wouldn't do anything different, and this was the Torborgee, and of course we had to serve it up with rice. Leave any tips and tricks on making Torborgee, or how you make it, or how you achieve, or what you do. So I'm curious to know how different people turbolize their Torborgee. As always, if you give this a shot, let me know. Until our next recipe.